right? But for any self-care, if it feels too big or like too much of a leap or like you're not quite ready to do that thing, take a little step to get there.
Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are talking about self-care today, not just any self-care in relation to everything that happens in your life. Merriam-Webster, I believe is what it's called nowadays, calls self-care taking care of oneself. Basically taking care of you. There's no definitive, there's nothing that says you have to do this thing or that thing. And it's something that marketing has taught us that self-care means these extreme concepts, when in reality, it can be very simple. Today, we are talking with a good friend of mine, Heather. I want to introduce you to her. Her expertise is in self-care and using normal day-to-day things that we do no matter what, and turning them into self-care elements to help our mind, to help our body, and to help our spirit. Heather's a life coach today, but man, she has quite the story to tell you guys. So without further ado, I'm going to let Heather introduce herself. Welcome to the show, Heather.
Thank you, Bonnie. I'm so excited to be here. Whew, okay, let me try to water down because yes, there was a journey getting here. I'm in my 40s now, and there were a whole lot of steps along the way. So I'm a veteran. I did the whole civilian sector thing for a little while. And then I I don't even know what that means. I ended up staying home with my first child. I decided that was a thing I wanted to do. And then very quickly I was like, oh, I'm not getting bored. When you have an infant at home, you don't get bored, but there was like an itch, right? Like, oh, I need something more. I love him. He's fun. He's awesome. And I'm not 100% fulfilled. So that's where I started exploring entrepreneurial stuff. So I will save you the time right now because it goes in, there's, again, a zillion pieces there. It's in my bio. You can go check me out on my website. But for now, a whole bunch of little things that I did entrepreneurially. Is that a word? It is now.
It is now.
And they were all fun and I loved them, but they were never the thing, which is why I didn't land there. They were the thing for the time. But they ended up not being the ultimate thing. And I don't even know if today where I'm at is the ultimate thing, but for now it is. It's the thing that feels amazing. So took my stepping stones through the entrepreneurial journey. Excuse me. And I found that the common thread throughout all of those things that I was doing was wanting to leave people better than I found them. Loving to bring joy and happiness and the giggles and the fun and the feel good stuff to other people. And that little piece was threaded throughout the other entrepreneurial stuff I did. So when I looked at life coaching, I was like, oh, there it is. That's where I get to do it like full blown, full scale all the time. So I know that wasn't super detailed, but I want to keep it kind of brief because that can get lengthy talking about where I've come from.
It can be for a lot of us. And I know you've had quite the journey. One of the things I love talking to you about when we first chatted, and I know we've talked several times since then, but one of the things I first really struck me was how unique your philosophies are. Can you talk about how that relates to really changing mindset and what self-care really truly means or could mean, I guess is a better way to phrase that?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for asking that. So regarding self-care, I want all of the rules that you've been taught, all of the things, I shouldn't say I want, because it's really not about what I want either. That's also a key point. I want to offer that anything that you've been, that's been shared with you, anything that you've seen, anything that you've heard and that didn't resonate, I want to offer that you take that and toss it out the window if that's what feels good. I also want to offer a little bit of more of an open mindedness about it, where self-care, it's not just the big things. Everybody's like, oh, you need a spa day. Oh, you need a vacation. You're getting burnt out. First of all, if you get to the point where you're burnt out, that's a whole other level. We can talk about that on another day. But it's not just those big things, right? So it's all the little things that we do every day, all throughout the day, so that we don't get to that place of burnout ever, because we're constantly feeding ourselves, our mind, our body, our soul. So it's about stepping all the way outside of the box and attending to, is it too quick to jump into the 4 areas?
Oh, by all means, because I think they're all related. And, changing mindset is really a key principle for what I do. So please feel free.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So it's about making sure that we have 4 areas, all 4 areas of self-care covered all of the time. And that none of them ever slips. And so those 4 areas are the one that most of us are most familiar with, which is physical. And then you have mental, emotional, and spiritual. And so your physical is the obvious. It is moving your body, whatever that means, right? So again, changing the mindset. It doesn't have to mean running 4 miles or doing a regular yoga practice. Physical is anything you do to feed the body. It might be rest. It might be deep breathing, which is one of my favorite things. We can talk more about that later because I've got some really cool things you can do with deep breathing all throughout your day.
Love it.
Yes. So the mental it's the thoughts that we allow in our heads and then around us to exist. So that might be what we're consuming on social media, on the news, people that we spend the time with. Do they tend to be like super negative people? Is there a way to separate ourselves or draw a boundary line? Or, how do we take that and make it feel better for us? That's a form of self-care. Emotional is it's very closely related to the mental, but it's not the thoughts, it's the feelings that you're having. And so that could like those uncomfortable emotions that a lot of us don't want to have. I've fought them myself. Let's just go to the good stuff, right? We can't do that, unfortunately. Not a great idea. So the emotional is allowing that what we might otherwise call a negative feeling. But maybe it's not negative. What is there that needs to be explored, that needs to be worked through? Does it have to be negative, or can it just be a thing that is in this moment, needs to be explored, and then you can move through it? But don't jump over it. Don't pretend it doesn't exist, right? So that's an example of emotional. It can be all the good stuff too, making sure that, you have ways built in to make yourself feel good throughout the day. But by all means, not ignoring the negative, icky kind of stuff. And then spiritual doesn't have to be religious, but it can be. But it's, what is your higher power? Is it what you call God, or is it Mother Nature, or is it some other? It doesn't matter what it is. It's just making sure that you connect with whatever that higher power is for you, and that you make it intentional, that you're getting that not just on Sundays or Mondays or whatever your day of worship is, if you have a day, but all day, every day. And so, that's simple stuff like step outside, put your feet in the grass, listen to the trees blow, whatever that feels like for you. It's making sure that you are exploring that regularly.
I love that you mentioned that. I get so many comments when I put out a short on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And it's always YouTube. It's never any of the others, where people are responding to me saying, go put your feet in the dirt. Doesn't have to be mud. Just go put your feet in the dirt. Mm-hmm. It helps ground you. And the comments that I get back are always, I don't want to get dirty. Well, I'm not telling you to get dirty. Go ground yourself. There's medicine men and women in Brazil, in a lot of the rainforest areas. And one of their principles is, when you go out and you put your feet in the grass and the dirt in the morning dew before it disappears, it will actually help your body in managing allergens, seasonal allergens from the environment. And I've had clients do it, works wonders for them. People have been on significant allergy medicines, not because of food, which is a lot of what I deal with is the food, but because of the things in our environment. Just the simple practice of getting up before the crack of dawn to go out and put your feet in the dew has made a world of difference for them. So I appreciate you mentioning that, because I love that it comes from somebody other than me.
I know. I always love those moments too. I get it.
Yeah, it's fabulous. It is such a great way to reconnect with nature. Everything is so cyclical. We don't thrive without nature. Nature doesn't thrive without us. So yeah. It's a great way to connect our bodies and ground ourselves, bring us back to center, especially when things are extremely stressful.
which today is pretty frequently for most of us, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's ongoing. It's never ending. So it's a great way to just, it's an excellent practice to start your day with.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. I hadn't heard the do thing before. I love putting my feet in the grass. So for me, gratefully, I have a lawn, a little bit of grass there that I can put my feet in the grass, but grass, dirt, even just taking your shoes off outside, if that's the first step for you, right? So if you're like, I don't want to get dirty. I don't want to put my feet in the grass. I don't know what's crawling. I don't know what your mindset is, right? But if you're feeling like that's not where it's at for you, what if you just take the first step and you step outside? Maybe you take your shoes off on your deck or your concrete or whatever. Just take a little step and then maybe another little step next time. Get there in a way that feels good to you. And this is maybe a silly example, right? But for any self-care, if it feels too big or like too much of a leap or like you're not quite ready to do that thing, take a little step to get there.
I love that. I love the idea of trying to find the right word, but I guess this is the best way to explain it, of trashing all of the marketing that you've heard, trashing all the things that you've heard, and start thinking outside of the box. Start thinking outside of that box to connect with what feels right to you and what you align better with. And I know that's something that you truly excel in when you work with your clients. So could you expand a little bit about just thinking outside of the box? Maybe give a couple of examples.
Yeah.
Normally.
Yeah. I'd love to. Yeah. Also, before I dig in there, trash it, question it, get curious about it, whatever feels good to you, right? So you don't have to accept it. You can totally trash it, or you could just go, I'm not ready to trash it yet, but also I kind of want to explore a little bit, right? So get curious, question it, maybe rebel a little bit, or, totally trash it, whatever feels good to you. Okay. So stepping outside the box with your self-care, what can that look like? I'm going to give a super basic example because everybody can do it, period. All of us can do it. So it has to do with hand washing. And so I usually say when starting a new habit, a great way to do that is to set up triggers for yourself that I did this thing, so I'll do this thing. I want to do this new thing. I'll attach it to this thing I'm already doing. A thing that we're already doing all day, all of us, is going to the bathroom. We finish up doing our business in the bathroom. We wash our hands. And so as you're washing your hands, you can be doing a few things. The very first of which is deep belly breaths. This is a fabulous way to ground your body, your mind, your thoughts. It's basically all of the forms of self-care right here with the hand washing. You're doing and be mindful that most of us breathe up here regularly. The shallow chest breaths, and that leads to anxiety. So when you're breathing, be really intentional about getting that breath way down into your diaphragm. So doing those deep belly breaths, quieting, calming, soothing the body, the mind, all of it. Now, along with those belly breaths, because you're quieting your mind, now you have space for being in the moment instead of whatever it is the next thing is that you are rushing to as you leave the restroom. We're not in that space in the future anymore. We're here in the now. And so in this moment, the next thing that you're doing along with those deep belly breaths is just enjoying the sensations that your body is exploring right now. So you're literally feeling what that water feels like on your hands as you're washing them, which is a thing we don't usually pay attention to, right? Scrub, scrub, scrub out. When you start to feel the sensations, it starts to bring a whole new awareness to your body where we've normally separated from. Sounds silly, right? But we spend so much time up here, we rarely recognize what's going on in your body. So that's a major gift to yourself. So you're feeling the sensation of your hands rubbing against one another, how your skin feels against your skin, how the water feels on your skin, how the water sounds as it runs down the drain. Maybe you have a really beautiful scented soap, and so you're exploring the sensation of scent in that moment. All of the things that are right here in the present with you that you generally don't acknowledge or even realize because we're so busy thinking about the next thing. Long explanation for something that actually happens very quickly, but is super impactful.
I love that. I love that. It's definitely made a difference in how I wash my hands, especially with the boys. I have affirmations on their mirror that I have them say every morning. And when a lot of times now, what I'll do, which I hadn't been doing previously, is I'll have them do it while they're washing their hands.
Yeah,
So
I love that.
And they're 3, so it's trying to tell them to belly breathe is. But for myself, learning that from you, it's made a huge difference, because that simple act, it's like a reset button, is what it feels like. It feels like a reset button.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that explanation. And imagine if you're resetting all day instead of like stress, chaos, stress, chaos, stress. By the end of the day, your stress and chaos is up here. You go to bed and you're like, oh my God, my head is exploding with all the shenanigans from today. But what if you're resetting all day long, all throughout the day? For 2 minutes, you're in there washing your hands and you reset and you come out and you're recharged. You're not anxious and overwhelmed because you've done that simple act for yourself.
Yeah.
It's massive. It's so simple. It's silly, but it's massive.
Exactly. And, I mentioned before we started this that the boys had been sick and then everybody had cabin fever. And with toddlers, that is insane. It's insanity. But I will say, even that first year of school for them, where it was like back to back and everything was just almost psychotic in the energy that was a bit around us, it didn't feel so bad. It's chaotic, it's stressful, but it felt manageable. It didn't feel like I was being pushed over the edge, like that overwhelming feeling that a lot of moms get, a lot of people in general get. The overtouching, the overstimulation. It helped a lot. And I will tell you, there was at least one time that I went just so I could wash my hands and just take a minute. And
awesome.
It's such a simple act, but for me, getting into, the chaos of the day is very easy. It's very easy for me to fall into that, to be able to take a moment and go, wait, I need to breathe, can be a major challenge. And that it's almost like I have an activity. Oh, I have to go wash my hands now.
Yeah.
I
love it. Yeah. So, a good way, because this is a new habit, right? Most people are still going to go in there like out, because that's the habit that's been formed. No shame. Okay. Just that's what it is. No big deal. Now, to start the new habit of taking it slower, getting present in the moment and appreciating that 1, 2, 3 minutes, whatever it is that you give yourself right then and there, you can do really simple things like put a Post-it note on your mirror that says breathe. Or if you're fancy and you're creative and you have a Cricut or something like that, you can make a pretty little decorative, like the stickers, and put it up on your mirror. I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to, because I also want that to be a reminder for my kids, my husband. It's a thing I have gotten used to doing now, but it's a new habit for other family members. So anyways, I digress. That's a thing that we all can do for ourselves, is set up little reminders, and it can be as simple as a sticky note. And then along with the breathing, this is a beautiful trigger, right? But you can set up other triggers for that breathing to get present in the moment and to give your body that like reset, rejuvenation. So you can use your phone, because we all have our phone on us all day, right? Put reminders on your phone once an hour, once every 2 hours, whatever feels good to you, more frequently if you want. That just says breathe.
Yeah.
Take 6 deep belly breaths.
I actually have always recommended people do that.
I love that.
Even before, because I've been in this field since 2003. In 2003, our smartphones were not where they are today. Yeah. And majority of people, if they had an electronic calendar, used a BlackBerry. Mm-hmm. And I would have them either include it in their agenda for the day or put it in their electronic calendar, anything, just a little reminder, to just, like you said, just breathe, just take a moment and breathe. I know one other thing that we had talked about was showers. And, when I first had the boys, the only thing I remember thinking is, I don't care if I do anything else all day long, I'm going to take a shower.
Yeah. As a mom of two, I relate to that.
Yeah. Like, I am taking a shower every single day.
I think a shower a shower by herself for a new mom or a mom of young ones is like the ultimate form of self-care. Yeah.
I agree.
Definitely our solitude.
Yeah, especially now that they're able to open doors and get through things. So it's not like you have the opportunity. Like right now we have one of the door thingies, the child safety lock on our bedroom door, so that if my husband's at home and I'm off taking a shower, they're not running in the bathroom. Because they will totally do it. They're at that age where, that it doesn't resonate. They want me, they're going to come find me, and when they can't, they'll go look for him. I think many new moms struggle with that. The ones that I've talked to, they do struggle with that. And a lot of caregivers, even if it's not young children, they struggle with that act. And for me, it ended up feeling like I was washing away the day. And my hair does not like it when I take a shower at night. Can't stand it. Mm-hmm. But my mind loves it.
Yeah, it's so massive, isn't it? Give your mind that gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. Showers are one of my favorites as well, because like the hand washing throughout the day, even if you don't shower every day, most of us shower at least every other day. No, whatever, there's no judgment here. Whatever your schedule is fine. But you're getting a shower is the point. Somewhat regularly, you're getting a shower. And so that's another opportunity. It's like a trigger, if you will, or you can use whatever word you like for it. I like the word trigger, but it's a prompt, right? To do something for yourself in that moment. So if now we really emphasize that with moms of itty bitty ones, young ones, this can be dads too. I don't want to exclude the dads, but from a mom's perspective, I know that my kids will come to the bathroom, having been next to my husband a moment ago, come to the bathroom to ask me for something. I'm like, where's dad? They're like, oh, he's in the living room. Wait, where you just were? Yeah. But why did you skip over him? So I'm speaking from the mom's perspective, I would say it's a pretty safe assumption to say most of us experience this. Getting that alone time is like gold, right? When they're little.
Absolutely.
Now, if given the opportunity to have that shower when there's another adult home, so you really can lock the door and just make it about you, that's ideal. So if you can set it up in that way, that would be, I'd highly suggest it, right? Even if you can't, right? Even if you have the little ones knocking on the door, or like when my son was itty bitty before my daughter was born, because I have the two now, but when my son was itty bitty and it was just him to worry about, I put him in this little bouncy seat outside the shower and give him a little toy and he was quiet. I could still have that moment in the shower. So this is a thing that young moms can do if necessary, but I'd highly advise to try to find somebody. So it's really just about you, right?
Yeah. When ours were young, because there's two, we had your normal size bathroom. So I would face them towards each other and leave the door open so I could see both of them. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of us, when you're a multiple mom, you hear recommendations and you're like, well, how am I going to apply that? I got two. Well, we just faced them towards each other. And I will tell you, when they outgrew those little bouncy chairs and the little chairs the activity chairs, oh.
I'm not laughing at you. I can just feel oh God, now what?
You get it. So that's where things change, but there's always a way to accommodate that.
Sure. We get creative, right? We step outside the box. Yeah, get curious.
Exactly. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
not at all. It's conversation. Everybody needs to, and that's a perspective I don't have. So I'm so grateful that you share yours, because I'm sure there are plenty of people listening who have those multiples or really, really close in age. There's like Irish twins. That's still a term that people use.
That's still a term. It's in the twin world, you're either a singleton or you're a twin. And if you're a twin or a multiple, because it's twin and multiples, Irish twins are in between the singleton and the twins.
Got it. Good. Well, thank you.
They're
You
a
learn
thing.
something new every day. Yeah. So no, thank you so much for offering that perspective. It's one I certainly can't offer. So I love that. But so the shower, right? A lot of the same things that we did with hand washing can apply to the shower, but you can take it to the next level. So you're definitely doing the deep breathing. And again, even if the kiddo is in the bathroom with you in their bouncy chair, safe space, or whatever it is, you can do the deep breathing. And even if you're like, part of your mind is still out there with them, because let's face it, we're moms and that thing happens. You can still do the deep breathing, and that continues to help bring you back to the present moment. That is probably one of the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Impressive is the word that's coming to me. It's because I guess it is.
I think that applies. I think that truly applies here.
Yeah. So it's one of the biggest things that you can do, though, for your impactful.
There you go.
Impressive. It's impressive and impactful. Yeah, the breathing is one of the most impactful things you can do for yourself. So continuing to do the deep breathing throughout your shower is amazing. Having, maybe, if it makes sense for you, like a special shampoo set, conditioner, shower gel that you can bust out when it really just is about you in that moment. If you're able to get the time away and somebody else can care for the kiddos, you can bust out the higher end or the really, really good, smell good stuff. And then you go into the shower with the intention of just being with those scents, with those sensations. You're feeling the soap on your skin, so your own hands, the soap, the water, you're experiencing all of those sensations. You're really going, oh my goodness, this is what it feels like. Because you usually don't feel that. I can guarantee most of the time, most of us aren't recognizing that that's what's happening on our bodies. Right. You're listening to the shower water run down the drain, which can be very soothing for a lot of people. Am I forgetting something? I feel like I'm forgetting a big piece.
I don't know. For me, when you always talk about that, my brain always goes back to water. So like my big plan of I want to live by the ocean again, I'm connected to water.
Me too.
Where I am, no matter where I go, I'm always connected to water. If I need to recenter myself in a significant way, show up in front of water every single time. And it's just a deep breath. So the sounds of the water, the sounds, the aromas, part of my background is in aromatherapy and the scents in our world. So, something that a lot of people don't know, we're told all about lavender and how lavender is so soothing and relaxing. Well, if someone was in a lavender field and had something traumatic happen, lavender would not have a soothing reaction. Your response would not be to relax. Yeah. Your response would be to be on guard. So using scents and high-end products or things that you believe feel like high-end products, they don't have to cost you a lot.
No, yeah, they don't have to be high-end per se, just valuable to you, right? Highly valuable to you, whatever that is.
Exactly. And the scent is a big thing. So when I buy shampoos and conditioners, I want it to do it when I need it to, but I want the smell to smell good as well. So I'll go through, I love the plant-based. I love the, organic, animal friendly, nothing that's tested on animals, the whole nine yards. Yeah. But if it doesn't smell good, I'm not going to buy it. Because I want to be able to walk out of a shower feeling uplifted. Yeah. Feeling like I did something special for myself besides just walk in, soap up, rinse down, run out the door.
Rush.
Yeah. We're brushing everywhere all the time. And aromas can really combine with all of the other senses. When you look at all of your senses, when you combine every single one of them, what happens to your body is you achieve the sense of overall relaxation. It's why sound baths in, rainforests or by a waterfall or with that waterfall sound behind you, the lighting, all of it, when it all combines, it can create the most relaxing experience you've ever experienced.
Yeah. Oh, I love that perspective.
You can create that for yourself. And, everything that we do health wise with us, it's all individual. There's this concept called biochemical individuality.
Mm.
And I love talking about it because just like your message, we're all each unique. And I love the message that you share that self-care for each and every one of us can be equally as unique.
Yeah.
So I think with the shower, for me with the shower, it's the sound of the water as well as the aromas.
Yeah.
I know I ground myself and I connect well with water. And for other people, it can be, various other things.
Yeah. I love that you said that. And it brings up a thought the thought is there may be people who are listening who don't even know what that is for them. You know that you connect well with water. I know that I connect well with water. So that's a beautiful thing that we have received over time at some point, and then we know about ourselves. But because of the hustle and the bustle and the chaos, and let's get to the next thing, and the rush, rush, rush kind of culture that we live in, I suspect there are some people listening who are like, is that a thing for me? What is the thing for me? Right? Just a little curious. Don't really quite know just yet. And so having that opportunity when you have quieted yourself, your mind, your body in the shower, and you are exploring all of those sensations that you and I just spoke about, you will get to see what speaks most loudly to you. And that's not to say only do that thing, right? Continue to do all the things.
Right.
Really submerge yourself in the full experience of all of the senses. But also notice, what is it that really stands out to you? And then maybe you can elevate that thing each time for yourself. It doesn't have to be a fine, perfect balance between all the things all the time, just as long as they're all in there. But, a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that might be what's necessary for you. And again, that's what makes it so unique and individual to each of us. And that's where we can explore what is it for me. This is where you get to be selfish fully, wholeheartedly. I don't think I'd call it selfish, but that's kind of what it sounds like when you say it's really, truly only about me, right? In this moment, that's where you get to make it just about you. So you tailor it. So it really is that for you.
Mm-hmm. And experiencing all of it allows you, and being open to that experience, it allows you to figure out what you align well with and what really isn't resonating with you. It's an ideal way of just kind of reconnecting to you. So rather than fighting your body to try and achieve this healthier mind, healthier body, healthier spirit, now you're learning to work collaboratively with your body.
Yeah.
It's something that as a society we've lost track of.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to get back there is, it's interesting seeing people come back to that place. But being open to experiences like that and open to the idea that what you've thought your whole life isn't necessarily aligning with you anymore. It may or may not be true, but it's just not aligning with you anymore. And this thing over here that you've opened yourself up to experience is.
So I'd like to revisit a comment that you made a moment ago about the lavender. Right.
Yeah.
Because it's about stories, right? We have these stories that we've been told that we accept, that we kind of try to force into, our space to make work for us because it's supposed to. Another word I hate, I love to play with, but I hate supposed to. I know, I cringe too. So the lavender, for example, I love that example because I hate lavender. So if I were to go, well, lavender is supposed to be relaxing, I have to put it in my, my scent diffuser. I have to get a soap that smells like that. I have to get a lotion because that's how I'm supposed to relax. I'm not going to because I don't enjoy the smell. And the whole time I'm going, if this could just dissipate and disappear, that would be wonderful. Yeah. So if anything that we're talking about doesn't resonate, how can you shift it so it does suit you? If it's not the scent, if it's not the sensation, if it's not the experience, what is it for you? Find that thing and implement it, but be intentional about implementing it. You don't have to take everything we're saying at face value. Take and play with it, but do implement it.
I appreciate you saying that. That's one of the things that I always try and remind people is I give a lot of information in these podcasts. not all of it is applied to one person. You know, that my podcast and everybody else's that is out there, you want to take the nuggets that call you, because the things that your brain latches onto are the things that all of a sudden it's like, wait, okay, so that opens me up to this. So like the story of the lavender. Mm-hmm. You know, so many people, I hear that story from so many people. And I always use lavender as an example because it is one of the more popular herbs out there. If you ask somebody how you relax, they think it's diffusing lavender, putting it in your bath, or having a candle. And in reality, it could be the complete opposite.
Yeah. And if you don't like it, it's causing you stress. That is not self-care. Don't do that.
Exactly. Exactly. If it's causing you any sort of, I'm over this, that's not helping you. That's contributing to the wrong side of your healthcare. And self-care is really, for me, it really is about taking the little nuggets that you hear. And if something resonates with you, you're going to keep remembering it, or you're going to see it over and over and over again, because what you focus on grows, right?
Yeah.
You go and you buy a Nissan, and all of a sudden now you see 50 million Nissans on the road. It's because you focused on that one thing, even for just a moment. And when those things start popping up at you, that's when you really start to relearn what it is that will help you, what it is that will kind of keep you in this a balanced state, which we're always up and down. If we can get just to grounded and balanced once a day, once every other day would be great. Once a day, I think, is ideal, but reality.
Yeah. That's the beauty about putting little pieces in, though, right? So it doesn't have to just be when I can fit it in. You're breathing already. Just make it a little deeper. There you go. Look at that. You're doing it all day, every day now.
Yeah. I always tell people with meal prep, I don't do your traditional meal prep. Mm-hmm. I recorded an episode where I actually meal prepped the larger meals for my Kickstart, my freebie. Mm-hmm. It drove me crazy. And I'm so grateful I just recorded it and I didn't talk, because the people listening would have heard that. That's not how I meal prep. The way I meal prep is I'll make something, but I double it. Mm-hmm. So now I have extra. And if it's not on the menu for that week, it goes in the freezer. And we don't typically, like for leftovers, we usually have a lot of meat that we make, chicken and things like that. I don't eat red meat or pork. Mm-hmm. We'll put that in the freezer, and that we can bring out, we reheat or whatever. But for the most part, the leftovers are used for lunches, not necessarily dinner. And the act of multiplying servings versus taking a dedicated time frame and making all of my meals for the week works so much better for me.
Yeah.
And it's just one of many, many things that it took doing small little things over the years to figure out. I hate cooking for longer than half an hour. So that's never going to happen.
I relate to that.
Yeah. I'm very happy cooking for a good half an hour, and I can do a lot in a half an hour. Mm-hmm. I can do a lot. Yeah. But it's those little tiny things, and it's not expecting to have everything aligned up at any given point in time. They call yoga practice for a reason. Self-care is a practice.
Yeah.
Healthcare is a practice. Feeding ourselves is a practice. It's things that we're always evolving, and we're always trying to do better today than we did yesterday. So
that's beautiful.
Thank you. So on that note, is there anything else that you'd like to mention? I know there's some things that you have to offer that we had talked about a while ago. So maybe mention anything like that as well.
Yeah, thank you. So I have a 21 days of self-care. It's whole, outside the box self-care, so all 4 areas. And what that looks like is it's an email drip. So for 21 days, and it's free. So for 21 days, you get a self-care practice. That's exactly what I call them as well. Um, and there's wiggle room, right? So it is a suggestion. I say, here's today's self-care. But I'm not there to force you to do the thing. You make it whatever you need it to be. That's highly encouraged in my world all of the time. But yeah, 21 days rolled out over email. So each day it's just that piece. It doesn't become overwhelming. You don't have to sift through and go, what feels good today? You can go through each little piece and then it's in your email forever. So you can keep the things that feel good. You can modify the things that don't, and you can make it suit you. But it's also, because it is stripped out over email, it's a little trigger so you don't forget. So yeah, I have that available for anybody who would like to sign up for it. I think we can drop it in the comments.
We can put it in the show notes.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. And then, I'll do little clips from our episode and I'll put them up on social media. So I'll make sure that some of those, anything that's related, the link will be in there as well. So everybody has full access to it. Cause I love the slow drips like that. I'm not a big fan of opening my email and having to read novels. But to open my email and I have like one little tiny nugget, I love that. I love things like that because it's digestible.
I agree. Oh, and I will include one last thing about that is a lot of them I've actually recorded too. So you get a little bit of a written description. But I like to just tell me what you want me to do and I'll consume it really quick on the go or whatever it is. So it suits a variety of people and at different paces and lifestyles. So you can read your little blurb if it's the thing that makes sense to you. But most of them have my short little video clip that tells you, hey, this is what I'm suggesting you do today.
I love that. Thank you. That's actually really a great tool to have. So we'll for sure put it in the show notes.
Thank you.
And if I can figure out the editing, we'll put it on the screen, but I'm not that good of an editor. So
worst case scenario, they can go to my website and get it. So,
and what is your website?
Yeah, it's heatherjonescoaching.com.
It's easy. Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes too. We'll put all your contact information. So anybody listening, if you would like, by all means, all the information will be in the show notes below. And I'm so grateful to you. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. I'm really grateful that you were able to show up and have the time, because I know life is busy, but to have the time to share your message with everybody. I think it's an important one.
It's important to me as well. So I'm happy. I'm honored to be here, to be able to share anything that can be gleaned from this by any person. That's a win in my book. So I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, folks. So that is it for today. We are focusing on self-care this month. So you'll see the next video right up there. I will chat with y'all later. And remember, all information will be in the show notes. Cheers.